This man was interrupted on his way. He was leaving Manhattan yesterday to get to Brooklyn where his daughter was. He's just a regular New Yorker just trying to go about his life. It's hard enough to live in New York. It's hard enough to commute. It's hard enough to get things done on a regular day. But then you throw 1,000 pro-Hamas terrorists protesting and shutting down the tunnels and the bridges connecting the Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn with Manhattan, and things can reach a fevered pitch. Well, this guy, he was sick of it. This has been going on for months now. These pro-Hamas protesters are acting like terrorists themselves. And let me explain. They're not necessarily murdering people the way violent terrorists do, but they are inflicting terror on people. They're breaking the law. They're making your life miserable. And they're basically saying, they're not trying to win hearts and minds here. They're not here saying, you know, we're going to block this tunnel so you can be on our side and agree with us. Because how does that work, right? You block a tunnel and bridge on my way home and make my life miserable. I don't care if you're in favor of rainbows and Disney and cotton candy. I'm going to hate you because you're making my life miserable. See, they're not trying to win you over with these tactics. The message they're sending is, we are going to make your life miserable every day of your life until you bend down, knuckle under, kiss my ring, and get out of my way and give me what I want. Acquiesce to my demands. That's the message here. And that's what terrorists do. They're just one step away from the actual, slaughter and murder and kidnapping. But it's two sides of the same coin here. So here they are making this New Yorker's life miserable, and watch what unfolds here.
You're disrupting traffic, idiots. You can't do that. That's against the law. Violent. I'm not just going this, bro. I'm not gonna run you over. Get away from my car, bro.
All right, so, and I want you, in case you didn't hear him, he said a couple of things. First of all, he yelled at these people saying, stop touching my car. When he got out of the car, he said, I'm not going to punch you with my fists, but I'm going to get you away from my car, which is what he's doing. And he announced it ahead of time. He's like, I'm not here to fight you. I'm not here to punch you. I'm not here to inflict pain. I'm here to clear you out of the way. I don't want to run you over. But you heard him say, you're obstructing traffic, you idiots. This is against the law. Now, we'll let this play out and continue here in the background as I try to analyze this as best I can in terms of the human element here. Because we've all seen this scene play out in all of our cities. We've either seen it live in person or we've seen videos like this. And it is reaching a point in our society where it's going to explode, as you can see from this young man who's, by the way, he goes on to say, my daughter's in Brooklyn. I'm trying to get to my daughter. And these terrorists will say, well, what about the daughters who were getting killed at the hands of the Israeli government in Gaza? Let me explain why this is boiling over right now, because we have seen this play out. 1,000 protesters stopped traffic yesterday. Reports are that about 300 of them are arrested eventually. Why weren't all of them arrested? And why weren't they all thrown in jail and kept in jail so they can't come back tomorrow and do the same damn thing? We have seen this scene play out, whether it's climate activists or Hamas activists or whatever it is, where they will block traffic and the police are standing by, waiting for what? The second you block traffic, you should be arrested. The second you get in front of a car and impede their progress, the police should drag you out of the street and throw you to jail. And the fact that it doesn't happen on a regular basis, number one, encourages it to continue. And number two, continues to send the message to us, John and Joe America, who are just trying to get through our day. Just like this guy who's done with his day in Manhattan, wants to get back to Brooklyn, his lousy commute in this lousy crime-infested city. where he can just get to his daughter, have some dinner, and finish his night watching the Brooklyn Nets game. And it keeps sending the message to all of us. There are two rules in society. And if you break the rules, as long as you're aligned politically with the left, you get away with it. In fact, you're celebrated. Just like Joe Biden at the church talking about the summer of justice. He's talking about rioters. He's talking about arsons. They get celebrated. They're held up on pedestals. Plazas in our major cities are dedicated to them. Statues are erected. They're heroes. But the rest of us who know the law, who know the rules, like this guy, who just wants to live our life with our husbands and our wives, we just want to get through a day following the law, stopping at the red lights. We're the ones who are treated like criminals. We're the ones whose lives are interrupted and disrupted by the real criminals. And our friend David Marcus, great columnist on multiple websites, including town hall websites, he pointed this video out, and he made, I think, a very important point. This is how Trump wins Brooklyn. I'm not kidding. And he's right. He's not kidding. Both David Marcus and I lived in New York City in the early 90s when it got so bad and it was so lawless, and the criminals were allowed not just to be on the street and commit crimes, but we were told that if we didn't like the crime in our city, from the homeless to the squeegee guys to the shoplifters, we were told that if we raised an objection, we were the problem. And it got so bad in New York that they did the unthinkable. They elected a Republican, Rudy Giuliani. And he turned it around quicker than you think. David Marcus is right. That right there is exactly how Trump wins Brooklyn.